Hey Mimi, alright, so here we have the house reading, and I just laid it according to how I just felt guided to lay it as we're moving along. So I can say some things are already coming through. Again, this is going to be important for you to resonate with what comes through. So we're just going to be touching on a few things. I guess how they had me lay it out was more like up here we're looking at kind of a current aspect right here, like a current state of mind, and then down here we're going to the period of the moving when that happens, and how that's going to be, and then getting to the next designated place where your next chapter starts geographically. Okay, so first of all, it does feel like we're looking at next year, but it also feels like you might have to wait until, I want to say, like an April, May-ish kind of, like spring is what it feels like more than anything. Potentially like the cusp of summer kind of deal, but it feels like a late springish kind of thing where there's going to be an opportunity. But besides that, and that doesn't mean that if something comes along sooner or after that, to not do it just because, you know, that's what it feels like here. It has to resonate with you. So just make sure that you're going according to your intuition. That's always going to be the most important thing. Okay. So what was interesting was when I pulled this card for what's going on like right now, there's this card, which is the Nomad card. So, you know, in the past life readings, that's like the place, like, so we're looking at the place and it's nomadic, and what that feels like it really represents is your heart and your being, right? So of course we've had talks, and the idea of mobility and being on the move, that sense of freedom. So there's this idea coming through that it's important that you take a look as you get older, and we change as we get older, that you look at this part of you that you feel represents freedom. So this part of you that wants to move, that's nomadic, that loves the idea of like being a gypsy, a traveler, that kind of thing, right? So with that, it's important that you look at the feelings that the idea of that provides you, because that is where the gem is in feeling that way and being that kind of person. It's not that you actually do it, it's that you understand the feeling of it and what you're reaching for by being that kind of person or loving that idea. And it feels very much like we're looking at the idea of freedom and making sure that you either understand that or carve out a place in your life for feeling free in that sense. So the idea of like, should you want to take off for a week somewhere, is that possible? Can you make that possible? So basically it's about feeding yourself experiences of freedom to quell the thirst for wanting to always be on the move or being that gypsy or being that kind of, right? Because otherwise it feels like you're holding yourself back, or you don't want to be the person that's like at the end of your life, why didn't I do this? And again, it comes down to the feeling of it rather than actually doing it a lot of the times. You know, the saying comes up where it's like, be careful what you wish for. And in that sense, what we're looking at here is, are you really wanting that on-the-go lifestyle? And if you did, how long would that last? And if you did, what is it that you're looking for or that you are wanting to get from it? That's what matters, is what I'm feeling comes through. Is that is what matters, is the feeling you are looking for by having that lifestyle. And that feeling, again, feels like it's coming down to freedom. So there are things in your life where you might not feel like you have that freedom, and that's very natural, especially, let's say, if you're a mother and your kids are going to a school, right? That kind of thing. So you have to create the freedom and the feeling of freedom in your life, and that will satiate what you feel like it may not satiate, which is the actual going and doing of being the gypsy on the go, on the road, in that way, right? So it's just about looking at it from a different angle and truly like feeling that you can give yourself the feeling of freedom and what you want without necessarily having a very narrow definition of the kind of lifestyle that's required to feel that way. You don't have to have that narrow lifestyle in order to feel the feelings you want to feel that you feel when you imagine it. Does that make sense? So just play with that idea and process that. The feelings involved with this is a nostalgic feeling. So it feels like there's this impression in you, in your being, in your mind, a pattern you formed from a thought pattern, a consistent, constant thought pattern of what this lifestyle would give you, the feeling it would give you, the freedom feeling, the adventuring, the mystique of it, the unknown, the adventure, that kind of feeling, along with the freedom of it. It has a nostalgic feeling. At least by now, you've created to where it's been in your mind for so long that now you have memories of remembering wanting it for years and years and years, so that it's become nostalgic, and almost like it's like almost, it has a feeling of like being the ungettable get. And in that way, it feels like it will always be romantic to you. But if it's almost like I want to say, like, the idea of romance isn't about attaining it. What is romantic is the unattainable thing. Romance is the romance is the unrequited love. It will always be romantic because it was never fully realized, that kind of thing. So there's this idea of allowing it to just be that romantic notion in your mind, but also knowing that you can get, again, the feeling of what you want from it in your real life. You have to just let go of the definition or the narrow vision of what it looks like in order to attain the feelings that you want, and allow what you won't have or don't have. We'll say that kind of gypsy lifestyle, right? Like, we're just using that as a sample, or maybe that is the case that's coming to mind, but allowing it to be romantic and letting that romance kind of fuel your passion for other things in your life that will help you feel like you have achieved something, or being productive, or feeling satiated, content, fulfilled. Allow that romantic energy to run through you and prompt you and encourage you and motivate you to doing creative things, if that makes sense. I feel like that this energy, this romantic and nostalgic energy, can go one of two ways. It can make people laze back and wish that it was different, or it can kind of, I want to say again, like, inspire people. It can be used in different ways. So either it can make people sad and wish, or it can make people inspired and do, if that makes sense. So make sure that you are aware that these feelings in you are energy, and you have the power as an alchemist to transmute that energy into either being nothing or being productive and doing something with it, right? That's feelings and emotion. It's all energy. You can transmute that. So I feel like this is actually a gift to you. The idea, the gypsy heart is a gift because it can act as an engine fueling you, pumping fuel into you to, like, energy in the feelings of emotions that you get from the idea of a gypsy lifestyle. And that can be used to be transmuted into an energy that is productive for you, to give you the things that you want to get, such as even the last reading for the career kind of thing. That this energy can be used for that, because this will always be a part of you. So you can always dip into it. It's like an energy reserve. Whenever you feel these feelings, think of it as your energy, like, reserve, your battery power pack of energy that you can dip into and utilize this energy to prompt and motivate and inspire you to do other things with it, if that makes sense. So the lesson here is trust. And this just comes down to what we're talking about, which is trusting that you're feeling the way you feel about, let's say, life in general, or where you want to live, or how you want to live that lifestyle. You feel that way because you're supposed to feel that way, because you're supposed to use it to your advantage. It's not there for you to mourn that you don't have it, or grieve that you don't have it, or wish that you had it and keep wishing you had it, because it's a wasted energy to keep wishing for it. Rather, trust that it's there for your use, for your advantage, to utilize the energy to transmute it into something that can actually make you feel content because you're doing something with that energy, if that makes sense. It's kind of unusual and unique, because I mean, I haven't had anything come through like that, so it's kind of unique to actually articulate it, but it certainly makes a lot of sense in my being right now, feeling what I'm feeling, and hopefully it makes sense for you when you hear it. So just trust the feelings that you have is really an overall arching thing for this right here, is trust the feelings that you have can be used and used well, like used productively. And yes, they're there for a reason, but it might not be the reason you think. The feelings you have to always be on the go in the gypsy lifestyle or the nomadic thing, the travel, the adventure, and this and that. If you just sit with those feelings and feel how that can like be intoxicating and fill you up and get you inspired to take action in a way that you can take action based on your lifestyle right now. Use it that way. And you never know what can come in the future, but use it that way and see what happens. So keep processing that, think on that. We're gonna go to this portion right here. Okay, so this was pulled as far as when it is time to go to move, what you're going to be feeling or experiencing. So, first of all, I do want to mention that what came through as I was even shuffling was the idea that where you end up should be somewhere that is actually on land and grounded. And it's interesting because I know we discussed, you had mentioned something about the houseboat, right? And that's all well and good as long as you are on land, like often enough, like more often than not. There's something about this, it's very strong about you being grounded because of this part of you that is not grounded, and not in a bad way, just not grounded, like wanting to move and go, the part of you that's always free flying and moving about. Even just your consciousness or your imagination is out there going here and doing this and doing that and all these, so there's this groundedness that you need in your life that I feel like you've done wonders being in the place where you are right now, in the mountains and with the ground and everything like that. But remaining grounded or being in a place where you can at least be near land or on land most of the time would be wise, is what it really feels like. Okay, so here we have the Wowzer card. So when it's time to move, it's the feeling of once you get there, you make the decision, you move, and you're there. It's going to hit you in a certain way. You're going to know you made the right choice. It's going to just be there in your gut that you're like, yup, this is the place we're supposed to be. Doesn't mean forever necessarily, could be, but in the moment you're going to get there and you're going to have that moment where it's like, okay, yep, made the right choice. That kind of thing. You'll see. So here, the feeling here is disappointment, because there's going to be a lot of back and forth before you hit that moment. It's going to be like, is this right? Is this good? In the long run, in the short, and what the message is be as present as possible, because this torn feeling you're going through, which even now that you're feeling torn about what to do, that kind of thing, it's a lesson in bringing you back to the present moment. Because when you're in the present moment, that feeling goes away. Because you're not letting your mind, your consciousness, your feelings, you're not letting it wander into the future, which is unknown, so you don't know, versus right now how you're feeling and comparing the now with the future. And this, of course you're going to feel torn, and of course you're going to get confused, and of course you want clarity, because you're not in the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, here's the thing, is there's this thing where okay, I'm here, I'm in the present moment, I'm still not getting the answer. You have to practice being in the present moment and not worrying about getting the answer. And all the time you put into being in the present moment and not worrying about the answer, because that's still worrying about the future, you have to let go of thinking, okay, I'm present now, where's the answer? You can't expect anything when you're in the present moment. That's a lot of people make that mistake. They're like, oh, okay, you're saying if I get in the present moment, the answer will be there. It's like, no. The trick is get in the present moment, and you have to let go of expectations that you're going to have the answer, and then the answer is going to show up. And it'll be in a moment when you're not expecting it. That's the whole point. So it's a lesson in being present. So what's going to happen is when you move, when you get to that time, by that time, you're going to know what it's like. You're going to know the benefits of being in the present moment, because what's going to happen is if you start this now, this practice, cognizantly, that word, putting yourself in the present moment without expectation, and you practice, by the time you move, you're going to feel as though you've mastered it enough that you're going to start manifesting at a much higher rate, or level, I should say. So these feelings of being torn, by the time you move, if you practice this, the feelings of being torn are not going to hinder you as much. You're going to be able to get clarity on your own much easier with this formula if you practice this. And that's going to be the aha moment too, when you realize, oh, this is what she's talking about, like that. You're going to feel like, oh, this is the feeling. Like, I'm not worried. I know where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be right here. This is home. This is now. And you're not going to question it. It's that whole like not questioning where you are basically every moment that you're there, because you understand that you have manifested that moment and that it's going to feel like home, because you know and trust that you have put yourself there. It's hard to explain except for that way, if that makes sense. But the feelings here, it's proud, because by this time, if you practice this present moment technique, you're going to feel proud of yourself at your development, because you're gonna notice your growth. It's always gradual. It's hard to notice over time, like it's so gradual with our growth and development. But there are those days where you're like, holy mother, I have come so far. Like, that's what it's gonna feel like by the time that this move happens, which I feel like is going to be like an April, May-ish kind of thing. But by this time, again, if you practice this, and also the trust, and this is all about understanding yourself more. So you're going to be working on all this good, awesome inner work stuff that is relevant and prevalent to you at this time, and it's gonna be brought forward in this way that you're gonna have that moment of like, whoa, okay, I have leveled up. I'm at a new aspect of myself. I can trust that I'm going to maintain this and just move on forward from here, and I'm not going to regress. I know what I need to do. You're going to know yourself better by this time. And I feel like feeling out the new geographical location of your life is just part of the lesson in helping you learn about yourself. So it's not even about where you move. It's about the journey for your self-exploration and self-expansion and self-development. That's the whole point of, it feels like it's time to move. It's time we should move. We should move. Where should we go? This is all about you. This is all about your growth. This isn't about where you're going to move. The where you move is just like, it's the illusion. Where to move? That question is the illusion. The real like what's it called, nitty-gritty stuff about it, the behind the scenes, is you growing into a higher version of yourself through these kinds of practices. Present moment, self-trust, self-love, understanding, utilizing your energy, being an alchemist, transmuting the energy to help produce and manifest abundance, and that kind of thing. It's all here. So just understand that. And that's also life in general, is there's going to be a question like, where should we move? Or I feel like, what's my career choice? It's not about the actual choice. It's about all the mechanisms behind making the choice, and how you follow through with it, and how you feel it out inside of you, and how you learn about yourself in order to get you to your next step, or your next stepping stone. Okay? Okay, so there's that. Now, down here we have the Island card, and this is the future. Like this represents the future. So this is the Island card, and what it feels like is this is the balance between grounded and being by the water, because there is something about being by the water that's important, but this is the balance that you're looking for, is groundedness and being by the water. But this also represents more than that. Again, it's not the big whole like the picture we were talking about, like groundedness and being by the water, like it's not black and white. It's more like we're talking about the water is emotions, right? And being grounded, that's like your rootedness, your rooting down, your decisiveness, your understanding about yourself, the stability with which you trust yourself. So this goes further past the surface layer of just an island. realizing also that you are self-sustaining in what you have yourself, right? So like an island, it's an island out surrounded by the water in the middle of nowhere. It's like, but the island isn't drowning, it's thriving. So just know that no matter who you're surrounded by or what you're surrounded by or what, wherever you are a self-sustained island all of your own. You have everything you need in you. And I know we've talked about trusting your intuition, even when it comes to even like this moving thing. This is being brought up for a reason. It's important that you start to trust your intuition more. Okay? And so I feel like that's why this is coming up, is actually your new mantra is I am the island. I am the island. An island can thrive even if it's surrounded by water. It's not going to drown. It's not made to drown. It might look like it, at some points if it's a high tide, oh, is the island going under? No, it's always going to be there. It's fine. You have everything you need to thrive. The feeling here is content. And again, putting these practices into, I should say, engaging in these practices, it's going to lead you to a place that's very fulfilled, very content. And yeah, of course, we always feel like we might not know everything, but my God, it feels so good to get to a place where you understand and feel how you leveled up and how you can trust yourself even more than you did a year ago or 5 years ago, how more stable you feel just in your own skin, in your own being, how more comfortable you feel in your own being, how more authentic you allow yourself to be, you give yourself permission to be. This is all about, this contentedness is not just about where you're going to end up, but when you end up there, when you move, you're going to feel more yourself because of the time that has passed and the effort you have put in for self-discovery. And that's going to peel layers off of you. That's going to reveal more authentic aspects of yourself to you, as well as other people. But what's most important is to you, because there are parts about you that you are not even aware of yet, or that you are not ready to reveal to yourself yet, that will be revealed. And all of this is going to be revealed in a way and at the time where you can handle it, so it's nothing to worry about. But it's just about peeling layers off and showing more of yourself to yourself and to the ones you care about, the ones around you. So this feeling card here is approval and disapproval. And this is a really great card because this just speaks again to the torn feeling, but it's about embracing the torn feeling. This is like the lesson du jour. Like, this is about embracing the fact that you may never know. You just may never know. Like it's about being comfortable not having the answers. Sitting in the uncomfortability, but embracing it. And kind of seeing how beautiful it is, because that's being human. Being human is not being given all the answers. Like Dolores Cannon said, Earth is a classroom. Why would we be given the answers to all the tests? Why? And why would you want that? It's not that it's cheating, it's that it's not going to be any fun. So when you embrace not knowing the next step on your path, so to speak, and just trusting in yourself and the universe and all of that, that makes life even more fun. Embrace it like a game, like you're playing a game. And every human being around you is just another player, and you're a player too, and you're all kind of working together, and nobody knows. Nobody has all the answers. So you're never behind, you're never ahead, everyone's on equal footing when it really comes down to a big picture. And the more you can embrace the not knowing and embrace it like a game, that's the key. That's everything. And that makes life so much smoother and so much more fun and so much easier. Is letting go of the burden or the responsibility or the control of needing to know, and of not just needing to know, but needing to be able to control the torn feeling, not like being able to get rid of this feeling of not knowing. Oh, I hate not knowing. Should I go here? Should I go there? Da 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 da. But imagine what it would be like to live in a reality where that just didn't even matter. Oh, I don't know where I'm gonna be, but I know I'll be somewhere. And I'm kind of excited to see where it is, because I know it's going to be great, because I'm going to learn lessons and everyone's going to be healthy and happy, and it's not the end of the row, and we'll see what happens next, and this is cool. Let's go with it. That kind of thing. So just consider that and sit with that. And then overall, the overall lesson here is experience, and that's why you're here. Just like I just described, you're here to experience living on Earth, the classroom of Earth, and experience all the feelings of not knowing and then learning and realizing all along you kind of knew, but you weren't sure until you had the answer, and now there's another answer to seek out, and you know, am I going to worry about it? Let's just see where it goes. I know I have the question, and I'm kind of excited to see the answer reveal itself, as long as I just trust that the stepping stones are going to be there and that I have everything I need inside of me, because I am the island and I will thrive. Even if it sometimes looks like I'll drown, I'm not going to drown, because I am meant to survive and thrive. And that's just what's going to happen, you know? So let's have fun with it. That's what this is about. So anyway, there is your reading. I hope that's helpful in some way. And I hope you're able to make some connections, or that it resonates with you in some way. And sending lots of love, and thanks for letting me read you.